What is up with Soul? Every single week, it's just like, is this dude actually awful?
There is nothing that brings the internet together like being a bunch of horny little freaks.
Breaking neckies and stabbing jackies, man. That's what Qimir's whole deal is all about.
Greetings, Palaxians. Today on the Bounty Board, we're talking The Acolyte Episode 6 to discuss twin swaps, sexy Darksiders, and speculate on Brendok's mystery. So kick up that warp drive and let's punch it.
Welcome back to the Guardians of the Palaxy podcast, everybody. I'm so glad that you're here. My name is MT, and like always, I'm here with my two amazing friends, Whitney Van Laningham and Tommy Bechtold. What's going on, gang?
Hello.
Hello.
My two favorite acolytes. Puts on dark side robe. Hey, you're my acolyte now.
I want a pupil.
I can't do it. My shirt won't do it.
No,
can't.
We're going to have to flag this video for adult content if Whitney and I lift our shirts up.
Yeah, if we lift our shirts, this is going to be a whole different type of video. But if we do that, Manny Jacinto, call me.
That's right.
Oh my God! Listen,
Manny, pick your flavor and order it up because Whitney and I are both on the menu for you.
We are
right?
on the menu, Manny Jacinto. Please, holy
watching this
shit!
episode made me so angry because I'm like, why is this man so handsome? It's not fair.
It made me angry because I was like, why don't they allow full frontal nudity on Disney Plus? I just think that should be an option. I think that they should have a cut for the kiddos and they should have a cut for those of us who want to see someone slanging peen. I want to see some peen.
Absolutely.
Give me that lightsaber.
You know, if there's one thing I've noticed, it's that I can't just easily toggle from Aristocats to full frontal nudity on Disney Plus, and that just seems un-American.
That needs to change.
Thomas O'Malley, the alley cat. If I recall, he doesn't wear pants once in that movie.
Episode 6
We
of
have
the
to talk
Acolyte.
about it.
This episode was extremely strong in my opinion because like the writing was just so interesting. We learn more about Qimir or whatever his name is. Apparently he has no name. The man known as Qimir, because right now he's the stranger. We don't really know who he is. And like, Osha wakes up. He's like, yo, why am I not dead? Why are my wounds healed by some force magic? And who is this super attractive naked man that killed all my friends? And it seems like this Osha is like slowly going to the dark side here. Like she's being tempted by the dark side, which is why this episode.
Oh yeah, she is,
Corrupt.
baby. So am I.
Once you go black, you don't go back. That's what I hear anyway. Once you go dark,
Jesus Christ.
you don't go bark. You know what I'm saying? But no, what did you guys think of this episode overall?
I liked it. I thought it was, again, there are some very valid criticisms with especially, some of the earlier episodes of this show. And I'd wanted to talk about it last week, but unfortunately I had to go to AEW Pro Wrestling with my cousin instead. And luckily we had the wonderful Colton fill in. But I'm confused by, I think maybe it's just the fact that we don't get a lot of mysteries of this caliber told in space, I guess. Maybe it's like we're used to having a Mayor of Easttown or, one of those style shows where the mystery unravels through 8 or 9 or 10 episodes. And like, it feels like so much is being blamed on writing for this show. And I'm like, well, no, I think a lot of it is just that we have 2 episodes left and there's so much of this mystery to be unraveled. And I will say a lot of the things that have unraveled so far have been fairly predictable. Like we were all pretty certain that it was going to be Qimir under the helmet, that smiling, creepy sensory deprivation helmet. We were all pretty certain that was going to be Qimir, and that was correct. Really good mini-series style mystery shows, whether they're on PBS and they're a British show brought over here or Prestige Max television shows, they save the most shocking reveals for either the end of the penultimate episode or the final episode.
Right.
I think maybe it's that Star Wars is a different type of media that we're used to consuming, these kind of epic, very surfacey level space epic operas, like where it's like, oh, it's just a lot of slashing and dashing and quippy dialogue and cool looking aliens and robots. I really hope, because I'm enjoying this show so much, the payoff is going to be worth it. And then hopefully some of the discourse, it already kind of, I think after episode 5 shifted. People seem to quiet down significantly.
It shifted. Horniness brings us together.
Yeah, so
nothing. There is nothing that brings the internet together like being a bunch of horny little freaks. Yeah. And that's exactly what happened. Qimir took his arms out and we all decided collectively that this is the best show in the world. That's how I feel after episodes 5 and 6.
Yeah, it's been cool to see like the shift happen because like, you know, obviously there's still the haters that really don't like the show, but like it just got significantly less.
Well, I think the thing that
toxic.
is a little unfair is some of the people that have been kind of critiquing the show from early on that have not been critiquing it for any of the like Star Wars is for girls or for woke, but just having like issues with it. And like, you know, I just spoke my piece on why I think that I don't agree with them, but they still have the right to say it. And it's like, now they're kind of left out. Like they're still criticizing it. And it's like, I mean, some of them are friends of mine, you know, have not made a grifting hard right pivot that are just genuinely good people. And it's like, they're being lumped in with that. And I'm like, well, no, criticism is really important for art.
Yeah,
it is. That being said, and maybe I am a mark for Star Wars. Maybe when that Lucasfilms logo comes up, I just shut down the critical thinking part of my brain and get ready to enjoy. But I feel like this show has delivered the goods, you know, in the good place, quite frankly.
Oh, yeah.
Real.
So,
I mean, like, it's definitely not a perfect show. Like, it's not like, you know, obviously Andor, in terms of writing, phenomenal, probably peak Star Wars in my opinion.
Yeah.
But like, you know, this is just like a nice little all ages sort of like type of show. And I feel like it has to be. Like, I feel like if this show was like as super like adult oriented and complex as Andor, it would probably turn off a lot of like the younger fans.
Yeah.
I feel like this show is important to establishing what comes next in like the whole Skywalker trilogy, that they sort of had to like make sure that it was accessible to everyone, especially the horniest among us.
Yes, exactly.
It's tough to have like a pip droid and what's my favorite little mole or sniffing guy?
Basil.
Having the pip droid and Basil as like, you know, main plot points in an episode, and then having Andor's level of like dark intrigue. I mean, Andor was like, our robot has Alzheimer's, not making light of Alzheimer's, but that was like, you know, the droid had droid dementia, right? Like that was kind of like, they're like, our droid is so old, it can barely function.
Yeah.
They're like, we're still going to have the Star Wars obsession with droids, but ours is going to be the saddest version of that.
This is something that Colton kind of brought up last week that I definitely agree with, that kind of goes hand in hand with what you were just talking about, Tommy, which is that, and I don't want to obviously repeat last episode too much, but I do think that despite the fact that a lot of these like theories and surprises were super predictable that like have been revealed, like all of the stuff with Qimir, obviously we all kind of saw that shit coming. The real mystery is just what the fuck did those guys do on Brendok? What the fuck happened?
Right.
And that is the real mystery.
And like, really, who is Soul?
The real mysteries was all the theories we got too predictably right along the way.
Really, I mean, like, if anything, I'm like, man, what is up with Soul? He is my favorite character from this show. I just think he's done a fabulous job.
And the actor is crushing it.
But like every single week, it's just like, is this dude actually awful? Like, is he like the worst of the Jedi? Like, is he actually the worst of the Jedi?
We the baddies.
Right.
The baddies. Yeah. He apparently feels a lot of shame for something really, really terrible that happened on Brendok 16 years ago that hopefully we'll finally be getting the flashback episode of next week, because we only have 2 episodes left. I'm just wondering what everyone, like all 4 of them, like, because they all share this burden. I feel like Indara, she didn't express as much like, oh no, like I feel super bad about what happened.
Yeah, she had the best therapist in the aftermath. She's like coping the best.
She was drinking a lot of alcohol. Like maybe that's what she was doing. She's putting her sorrows away.
Sometimes that's what you got to do.
This next episode is going to be super crucial to the whole series in general, because like that mystery has to be a good payoff. Like rather than like being super, super predictable, like Tommy was saying about with Qimir, like I just want like us to be blown away of like how messed up the Jedi were on Brendok 16 years ago. And if the Jedi High Council was aware of that, and if it's just a systematic issue, or if it's just like, you know, a group of 4 people making a decision on their own. And that's what the second half of the episode, which is what Mae and Saul, that's what it's all about. Mae tries to stab Saul in the back, but Saul's just like, hey, go fix stuff and all that stuff. And like, she doesn't get to do that until eventually Saul gets hip to Mae actually being Mae and not Osha.
He figures it out.
But only after he calms himself down, because like we see him like be super emotional and super frustrated, losing all of his friends on Kofar.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's very indicative of what Qimir was telling him when they were fighting. It's like, yo, what have you done with the dark side of your personality, Soul? Like, what's like, I accepted my dark side. What about you? And then we can see Soul fighting with his dark side, fighting with his compassionate nature, even though having compassion is not necessarily dark-sided, but like according to the Jedi's philosophy, if you have too much attachment, that can lead to the dark side because you fear losing those attachments. And so that's what we're seeing with Soul. Soul had, his greatest fears realized when he saw all of his friends, including his Padawan, killed by a dark-sided person.
Yeah.
This whole series seems to be about him confronting his compassionate nature that he's like tried to bury inside because of his Jedi philosophy. And like, I do like that because it's also indicative of what Osha has been going through. As we see in this episode, when Qimir talks to Osha, he's like, yo, you love the Jedi, but that love is always going to be one-sided, bro. But like, that's not necessarily true because Saul is suffering because like he loved his friends and he's like, oh man, like I hate being so like loving, but like, man, like those are my homies.
Right.
And like, it's so cool seeing them both struggle with the same thing, even though Osha felt like she wasn't worthy of being a Jedi because she was so attached. So it's just like, I find that so intriguing. Sorry, I talked a lot.
No, I think that was all very valid.
Thank you.
It does seem like the main element of torture inside of Soul is that he feels this almost paternal compulsion. He's fighting against this paternal instinct of like going against the Jedi code to preserve these Padawans or, younger Jedi that he has formed these bonds with, which is like kind of always seemed like the crux in the prequels too, like Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, and Qui-Gon's like obsession with getting Anakin trained, and pushing him through, even though they were like, he's too young, or too old.
Yeah, he's too old.
Age is just a number. No, cut that out immediately. One thing that is important is that we're all getting old, and someday we'll all die. And I would be remiss if we died before talking about this week's fabulous sponsor. I rarely say this. Most of the time I'm lying when I get excited for these sponsors. And I say like, oh, this is a great sponsor. Today's the God's honest truth. We have an incredible sponsor today that I actually genuinely support, put my full-throated support behind.
Full-throated
support. That's what a lot of Qimir supporters feel. You know what I mean? That's terrible.
Yes. That is what we feel. Let us be horny on Maine. Let us be horny for the Sith Lords on Maine. That's
Good
all
gracious.
I want.
With the full throat, not half of it, not 75%, the full throat.
All right, that's a 19. So we got Belgian 6. So Belgian Kites. Belgian
Kites.
Gugensprach, everyone.
Gugensprach.
Gugensprach to you.
My name is King Henry of Belgium, and this is my queen, Mastertainment.
Yes.
And this is our non-binary child, Whitney.
Hello.
We believe in one thing in Belgium. Kites.
Yes.
We love kites.
Listen, you ever heard the term butterfly in the sky? I can fly twice as high. That's exactly what Belgium kites can do. Fly twice as high as your normal kites.
One thing people don't know is that we don't have reading or books in Belgium. We just have kites. So the show Reading Rainbow is just called Rainbow there. So only
regular rainbow.
Rainbow kites. Now, I know what you're thinking. I live in America, greatest nation in the world. Why do I have to have anything like a kite to fly? We have kites in America. Let me tell you what these Belgium kites have in them. Stroopwafels, okay? They are made of the delicious confectionery stroopwafel. Pot waffle, pot caramel cookie, and they come together and you can eat the kite when you're done flying it.
That's the best part of having these kites in Belgium, Mom and Dad. Thank you for being the king and queen.
No problem, my beautiful child. Use code StroopWaffle85 for 15% off. A Stroopwafel kite. They come in 3 sizes, big, huge, and oh my gosh!
Yes, that's Stroopwafel, not blue waffle. People get that mistaken
Please
all
do
the
not.
time. Do not put that in.
Please do not search blue waffle.
Don't do it.
Search Belgium Kite Stroopwafel. And please only use promo code Stroopwafel. If you try to use the other waffle code, it will send you to internet jail. For now, I have been the king, and goodbye to my queen and my child. And as we always say in Belgium, Bringen Sprachen Dullen kann, Bringen Starken Dullen kann. I can do anything. Take a look, but not in a book. We only have waffles.
If you are from Belgium, we love you.
We're really sorry if we've offended anyone from Belgium. XOXO, the Stroop Troop.
Stroop Troop.
Stroop Troop.
Stroop Troop. And if anyone wants to send us Stroop waffles, we got to get a P.O. box because those things are delicious.
I'm a big fan of waffles.
They are delicious.
Stroop waffles, man, when McDonald's fixed their ice cream machine for one day and they had the Stroop Waffle McFlurry when they were doing the international menu promo thing where they're like, here's all the stuff you can't get in America, you pigs. I was mainlining Stroop Waffle McFlurry for a while. It was pretty great.
Oh, hell yeah.
Speaking of mainlining, we really did a character mainlining in The Acolyte as the majority of the lead cast was purged in episode 5. And now we're basically just down to the core 4. And what's her name? Vernestra?
I love that this series is also, this is going to sound so weird, especially after the prequels, is diving into the political parts of things.
Yeah.
That was the worst part of the prequels.
God, they're finally getting into the politics.
Thank God.
But I like that we're seeing how much like politics affects the Jedi. And Vernestra is like apparently trying to not get the Senate to have like an audit of the Jedi.
Yeah.
They're just
there's
like,
that one senator that's running on that platform.
Senator Rancor, whoever that is like, hey, we gotta, see what the Jedi are doing. And like, and apparently the Senates are trying to do that. They're like, oh yeah, the Jedis are always transparent with us. So like, it shouldn't really be a big deal. It's just like formality. But Vanessa was like, I don't know. I just sent a bunch of people to Kofar to die.
And meanwhile, in the Jedi camp, they're like, we can't tell these people shit. They can't know anything about us. We gotta keep this a big secret. We're fucked right now.
We are so fucked right now.
Why do they think that they're above the law? And like, that's sort of the hypocrisy, the type of hypocrisy that Qimir, I feel like, is trying to expose. It's just so interesting to see Vernestra shaking her boots a little bit.
I completely agree. The funny thing, though, is we're already getting like with the Qimir stuff. It's like he's very charismatic and charming. And I think I was telling Whitney this. It's like, if this were a like the OC drama show on Fox, he's like the cool. He's like the cool rebel guy that, like, no pun intended, but like cool outlaw guy that comes in with some really cool big ideas. But like by like his last episode, he like tries to like assault one of the people on the show and he gets gunned down because it's like he heel turns so fast. It's like we're already forgetting that Qimir 3-hole punched Jackie, killed her in cold blood, and then was like, that was its name?
Yeah.
Like,
breaking neckies and stabbing Jackies, man. That's what Qimir's whole deal is all about.
Breaking neckies and
stabbing Jackies. Holy shit.
Breaking neckies, stabbing Jackies, and cashing checkies, homie. Come on.
Oh, yeah. Cashing checks, baby.
He's clearly a bad guy. He kills remorselessly and, like, refers to Jackie as an it because she's not human.
Gross.
This guy's bad. Even if he's talking all low and slow and taking sensual baths in the babbling brooks.
God, he's so hot.
That dude's gonna heel turn hard, worse than he already has.
Absolutely.
We should definitely talk about the fact that Qimir is a lot older than he looks, apparently.
Yeah.
Because he does say in the episode, it's like, I've been around for a very long time. Yeah. And that makes me think, and a lot of people have been saying this, that this dude could be Darth Plagueis, the guy who figured out a way to cheat death. That'd be super interesting if that was the case.
Sure.
However, there is also the possibility, because at the end of the last episode, we did hear that music cue, Kylo Ren's theme play when Qimir was healing Osha's wounds. And so like that part makes me feel like Qimir could potentially be either the founder or the only leader of the Knights of Ren at this point in time. His whole philosophy of like wanting to live free from like persecution is very much in line with the Knights of Ren that we learn in the comics anyway.
Those are my two main theories too. I'm dying to figure out which one it is.
Yes.
Also, come on, isn't Yoda being a little freak right about now? Isn't Yoda alive and well? Give us Yoda. Come on.
I will trade Yoda for 20 more minutes of Chimir's arms. I'm sorry. I I want him to pick me up and carry me like Travis Kelce carries Taylor Swift across the Eras Tour stage. I just want him to hold me. I want him to scold me. God, I want this man so bad.
I mean, Qimir, take me somewhere only we can go.
Somewhere only we know.
All right, we got to talk about predictions for episode 7 because that is going to be a hot episode. Penultimate episodes in these Disney Plus shows tend to be where a lot of the action wraps up, or we're left with, man, episode 8 better be a banger, and then they secret invasion us.
Yeah, and then we're like, oh no. They wouldn't do that to the Yord Horde. They've already taken so much from us. They're guns to give us a good episode.
Man, if anything, the fact that we didn't have to see stupid Yord use his lightsaber as a flashlight was
I know.
was relief enough. What a cop. What a cop. Bye. Bye, Yord. Sorry, Yord Horde.
ACAB includes Yord.
Yeah. You can't spell ugh without Yord.
It's true.
So what's our predictions? What do we think in episode 7? Do we hear the P word? Do we hear Plagueis?
I think that episode 7 is going to be very much the flashback episode. We're going to see like what happened with the Coven, but then I feel like right after that flashback, we're going to see the reveal of Coral alive and well. I feel like this woman is out there somewhere.
Yeah,
including her in the flashback, and then like just getting rid of her, I feel just feels really strange. I feel like she has a bigger role in the series. I feel like it'll be revealed that Coral was the one that gave Qimir those back scars, and then threw him away because he failed her in some way. I don't know.
Now, do you think Qimir was on Brendok at that time? Do you think he was lurking around hiding?
Maybe, but like I think that at that time it was mainly like a woman's only coven.
Why are women so selfish with their spare time?
Patriarchy's everywhere, man.
Hey.
Why won't they listen to their secret meetings?
If you can't handle me at my witches, you don't deserve to slam me in the back of my Dragula, okay?
Oh,
you
wow,
don't.
yeah, that's true.
Or whatever Marilyn Monroe said.
I think she said, if you can't handle me at my Qimir, you don't deserve me at my stranger.
Ooh.
Also, if we're going to do cheers and jeers, which is something we never do, jeers to Hasbro for delaying the release of the Stranger helmet by a full calendar year, just in time for next year when people are not going to be giving a flying F about it. In August of 2025, you will receive your Stranger helmet. Great job, Hasbro.
Why?
Come on. Let us nerds put our special little helmets on.
In Hasbro's defense, Cortosis metal is hard to find, okay?
Sure.
So they get to find that shit first, and then make it.
Not all metal is as easy to find as Beskar steel.
That's true.
Exactly.
I've always said that. Well, if we're going to have to find Beskar Steel and find Cortosis, we're going to have to get out of this episode.
We're
going to have to say goodbye to our friends and our pals. We have 2 more episodes of The Acolyte to cover. We've got a lot of fun stuff. It's almost Deadpool season, baby. And
it's almost Deadpool.
Very
Deadpool Wolverine month. Are you kidding me?
And we've got some very exciting potential guests coming up on the channel joining us. We had Colton last week. Colton, one of our favorite people on Earth. And let's just say maybe some other people in Colton's Palaxy may be joining us soon. But until then, you can support this channel in a variety of ways. You can like and subscribe us. Whitney, how else can they support us?
Fuck, man. Go get yourself a crop top. Go get yourself a t-shirt. Whatever you want. Comic-Con is coming up. How fucking cool are you going to look if you're wearing a Guardians of the Palaxy shirt at Comic-Con? Yeah. Tommy and I are going to be there. If you're wearing a Palaxy shirt and we see you, we're giving you a crisp high five. The high five will be so fresh, so crisp. Buy a Palaxy shirt. Buy one for every day of Comic-Con. Wear one every day. Wear one till sweat comes out your eyeballs. That's all we want. That's all we need. Best way to support us right now.
It's the best way to support us. And the best way to support each other is by being a good pal. So for MT, Whitney, and your friend Tommy B, be a good pal. Check on your pals. Love your pals. Ask your pals if they're okay. And make sure that you're okay. And if you need a pal, you've got 3 pals right here. We love you very much.
Yes.
See you next
week.
Love
you guys. Bye.
Gang, gang. Bye, guys.
Bye.